Organization is a key way to writing any effective paper, and there are some really key ways in which you can do that. Clear topics are the best way to start. If you know what you want to talk about, then it's going to be easier to determine how you want to talk about it. Additionally, research questions can help you get towards those hows of writing your paper, because if you know what questions to ask, then you know what to look for, and if you know what to look for, then you're going to know the direction that you want your paper to go a lot sooner. Make sure that you understand what the paper is asking you to address. If you don't understand the prompt and you don't understand the things that you need to analyze, then it's going to be a lot harder to write your paper in a clear way. If you don't know, talk to someone, ask your professor, go seek out help. People who write effective papers do so because they have a very clear understanding of what their paper needs to address. Next, it's important to organize your sources, and that means any data, any literature, or any other resources that you might be using in your paper, such as any media resources. Now, we'll be addressing specifically how to find effective resources in another video, but for the time being, it's important to know what you're looking for and to organize them in ways that make sense to the way that your paper is going to be laid out. So if that means having a folder on your desktop with all of the different subsections that you need to be writing about, then that's one way you could do it. You could also organize your writing by author or by subject matter in some other different way, but make sure, however you organize it, that it makes sense for the way that you want to write your paper. Because if your sources are mismatched or unorganized, it's going to be so much more difficult to utilize them in an effective way to deepen your analysis. Now, before you actually get to paper writing time, let's organize your paper a little bit in an outline. Outlines can take many different shapes and forms. They can be handwritten or they can be typed out, but however you do it, make sure that it makes sense to you, and when you go back and look at it, it's going to be readable and understandable. What I'm outlining on the screen is just a basic outline of what a paper looks like. So you have your introduction, you have your thesis statement, and then you have the body of your paper, where your evidence and analysis is really going to deepen and become the meat of your paper. This is going to have multiple paragraphs and is the longest section of your paper. Now, even though there are multiple paragraphs, make sure that there are clear ideas in each paragraph, and ideally only one clear idea per paragraph. Trying to mix things together and make long paragraphs is typically very confusing in a paper, so try to steer clear of that. But building up your arguments to make your final point and to deepen your analysis, as well as to support your thesis statement, is the way that your paper is going to be the most effective, and this is really where you're going to be able to plan that out. Next comes your conclusion, where you need to reiterate your thesis and discuss some key points that emerged in your analysis. Also, highlight important data or facts to remember as people are finishing up your paper, and if it's relevant, talk about future implications or more research that needs to be done in this area. It's always important to address the fact that your analysis and your paper exists within a greater body of work. Once you've gotten all that down, it's time to start writing. You have a basic idea, and you're probably in a pretty good place to go ahead and start that introduction paragraph. But don't try to write everything perfectly the first time. It can get really frustrating, and sometimes you'll just get in your own way. That's what editing's for. Just get your ideas down on the paper and start writing.